Hello everybody and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Album Spotlight, the show where I put the spotlight on a new album in progressive rock or related genre, one that I think you guys will really enjoy if you have similar tastes to me in music. And it's just my chance to gush about new music as it comes out. That's one of my great passions in life, is just continually discovering great new music that touches my heart and just really impresses me as I go through my life and discovering new things. It's just a blast and a joy to be able to have these experiences and to share them with all of you. And today I have an excellent release that's coming out this Friday. It's Caligula's Horse and their new album Charcoal Grace, which is just excellent progressive metal, top tier music if you like that style. I've heard them considered to be one of the big four of the modern progressive metal scene, along with Haken, Periphery, and Tesseract, who all released albums last year. So they're adding their hat into the ring of who's the best in progressive metal. And I think they all have excellent things going for them. I probably lean more towards the Haken Caligula's Horse side of the equation because they tend to have more clean vocals and more influence from progressive rock than strictly heavy metal. So that's my preference, but everyone has their own idea of what they enjoy in progressive metal, so that's just me. But Caligula's Horse, they were founded in Brisbane, Australia in 2011, so they've had quite a storied career already up to this point. They've been active as a band for looks like 13 years or so. Had many notable releases that many people love, having this very cool progressive metal style. You can maybe compare them to Pain of Salvation, Opeth, Porcupine Tree, Periphery, Carnival. All those types of bands are reference points, but really they have their own signature style. They're able to really groove well. There's a lot of focus on really melodic, excellent vocals. You've got some really great guitar playing from their lead player, Sam Valen. So you've got a really cool mashup of great progressive metal music mixed with progressive rock that just really impresses and showcases the heights of the genre. They're able to bring a lot of emotion and impact to their music, and this one in particular is very impactful because of the meaning behind it and how it was created and what kind of climate the band was in when this album was crafted, because they released their album Rise Radiant back in 2020, and of course when they were working on that album, the world was a little bit of a different place. It was pre-pandemic. They were really excited about this new album Rise Radiant and excited to tour it, but all those plans kind of got pushed to the wayside because of the pandemic. They weren't able to tour the album. They weren't able to really revel in the excitement of the release like they were hoping, and it left them feeling a little bit depressed and disappointed and uncertain about their future as a band and what they wanted to do. So Charcoal Grace was kind of born out of that kind of an atmosphere, born out of the hopelessness of the pandemic and the world in these past few years, but trying to find some sort of catharsis through their music and come out of that. And so you hear a bit of that melancholy and sadness in this album and some darkness throughout. I think Rise Radiant was a little bit more uplifting and positive in its messaging, but this one delves a little bit into darker subject matters, into deeper things, but I think it's really beautifully and expertly done. What's cool about Caligula's Horse, and to me what their superpower is their ability to blend these darker, more melancholy, heavier moments with these lighter, more uplifting, more brighter spots that really speak to your heart and that bring a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day because everything's resolved in an interesting way. But you do get touchstones of all these darker moments and these darker moods that they're trying to portray. So it really takes you on a journey. And to me, their music tends to be music that grows on me over time. Like, it doesn't immediately grab me like a lot of my other music. Like listening to the new Neil Morse album, I felt like I could pretty much almost sing along to some of the songs on my first listen because the hooks were so catchy. I'm so familiar with Neil Morse's style and his sound that it was just an immediate grab and something that immediately caught my attention. But with Caligula's Horse, the first couple listens were just me trying to live in this world and me trying to grasp what they were trying to convey. I was enjoying the experience, but I didn't really have much that I was taking away from it upon those first few listens. But the more I took those listens in, the more that I let it work its way into my heart and into my soul, the more the music spoke to me and the more that things grabbed hold and the more that I'm able to recollect and remember these big moments and these important parts of the record. So it's a slow burn. It's a slow grower, but I think it's worth that experience. And at least for me, it was. And now I just find it an absolute joy and pleasure to listen to this album over and over and catch hold of those little moments, those bright spots in the storm, those great melodic hooks that really grab you and bring you forward into this big melancholic sea of progressive metal music. It's just a fantastic record. Starts out with somewhat of an epic track. It's a 10-minute track, The World Breathes With Me. And this gives you a perfect idea of what to expect on the record. A more slower, thoughtful opening before the band kicks in with their riffs and their heavier feel. You get those great mournful vocals from Jim Gray, some backing epic strings. There's some vibes that are more atmospheric and ambient that break those heavier vibes for moments throughout the song. And you get this great emotive extended guitar solo that reaches these huge musical heights. Those last couple minutes of the track are just sublime, with Jim Gray just being able to sing to the heavens and getting this full chance to shine and show off his vocal range. He's just one of the absolute highlights of this record. I love his vocals and what he does, and it just really brings an interesting quality and emotion to the music. And I love Sam Valen and the solos that he portrays that really bring out this emotion as well. I think the best guitar players are able to let their instrument sing and showcase this emotion that the song's trying to convey. It's really a beautiful thing. Gollum is a shorter track, maybe one of the more straightforward prog metal pieces with tons of groove and hard rocking moments. It's a fun piece that was an excellent early single for the album. And then we get into this 24-minute epic broken into 4 parts, which is the title track, Charcoal Grace. Self-contained story about a child and their relationship with an estranged parent. It's broken up in a similar way to like what Marillion has done on their recent albums, where they have these long song suites, but they're broken up into several parts, at least on the streaming and digital versions of the record. But this is just such an excellent journey of a track, definitely the centerpiece of the whole project. You have these moments of dark ambiance with dark keys and chiming guitars before these heavy riffs come and crush and really bring the weight of the music. There's some thoughtful moments, there's melodic twists and turns, there's transcendent beauty mixed in with these dark, crushing riffs. It's just a great journey to have, and each piece of this epic really has its own individual style. I think the band really wanted to have an epic that worked expertly well together as a whole, but also you can grab each piece of it as an individual track and not be disappointed as well. You know, each track stands on its own as well. So it's an interesting way that they're able to accomplish both things, to have these tracks that feel like they can be more individual, but also that work together as a team to create this emotional impact. Vigil is a great moment on the record, one of the more softer moments. It's like beautiful acoustic guitar and vocals. Reminds me of some of the more acoustic moments of Opeth. And then Give Me Hell brings the cinematic scope to their music, beautiful soundscapes, heavy crushing moments, everything they do well in one climactic work of art that brings this whole epic to a close. It's excellent. And then they do a couple shorter tracks here, Sails and The Storm Chaser, which focus on a bit of a lighter feel in a lot of ways, and some of their groovier moments and some gorgeous melodies and great vocals. Sails in particular is just a beautiful near ballad on the record that I think is a great different kind of flavor than what's come before it. And The Storm Chaser once again is a great way to blend some of these more beautiful melodic moments with some of the darker, heavier crunch that they can add to this as well. So great blend of styles and things that they're doing here. And then they end with another big piece, Mute, which is 12 minutes long, which starts with these strong a cappella vocals and ambiance, opening up the track more powerfully as the band kicks in and brings this dramatic and cinematic air to the proceedings before it quiets down and focuses again on those vocals. There's some beautiful flute soloing in some of these more lighter sections with some heavenly melodies. Some epic driving prog metal leads back to those ambiance and flute sections as well. And it just builds and builds at the end with this great, big, epic conclusion, cinematic, soaring guitar melodies, great vocals from Jim Gray, and it just ends fantastically well. It's an experience, and it flows in a perfect way. And I think it's just an expert statement for the band, and has been one of the best things I've heard from them. Of course, I haven't followed them as closely as I followed other bands, but I've heard things here and there, and I just think they've really knocked it out of the park with a very mature and thoughtful record that blends that darker heaviness of progressive metal with some beautiful melodies and some lighter moments and some moments of reflection. And you can tell that they were in a darker mood when they brought this to the table, but they're able to find those moments of brightness through the storm and able to just really bring something together that's satisfying as a listen, and maybe can help you have some catharsis if you have dealt with some heavier, darker moments, especially through the last few years as well, like they have. So it's a beautiful record. Definitely highly recommended when it comes and drops this Friday. Check it out if you're a fan of progressive metal and into this heavier style of music. It's palatable for someone like me who doesn't like the extreme metal. So if you're kind of afraid of some of the more extreme screamo, stuff that's out there, this is not that. This is more melodic progressive metal music that I think can appeal to a large group of people. But of course, it does have its heavier moments and heavier riffs throughout the proceedings as well, but to me it's balanced really expertly well. So that's what I have for you today on Charcoal Grace. Beautiful record by an incredible band that just seems to be improving and improving as they go about their careers, and excited to see what they do next, and glad they didn't disband after the disappointing way that Rise Radiant unfolded based on the time of the release and everything that happened in that period. So wonderful band, check them out, and I hope you guys are enjoying whatever you're listening to out there, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in a future episode. Thank you, everybody. Bye.